What's up everyone, Jaren here with 0 Point Athletics. I'm here to bring you part 3 of the mountain bike video series. So I just want to start off by saying I apologize. It took me quite a long time to get this video out. I had to change a little bit of the information that I originally thought that I wanted to put into this video. But after doing a couple bike rides, I came to a few realizations that I had to kind of rethink how I wanted to do this. And then also the gym moved into a new facility and I did get a little sidetracked with other projects and so forth. So again, I apologize it took so long to get this out. But today I want to talk a little bit about posture, specifically ribcage positioning, pelvis positioning, and then I also want to get into hamstring and adductor recruitment a little bit and how that is going to apply to you being more effective on the mountain, or on the trail I should say. And really a lot of this stuff should be applicable to all forms of mountain biking, all forms of biking. The reason that I'm putting this video series together is because I do mountain biking. You know, that's my sport. That's the context that I am basing a lot of this stuff on. You know, I can't really say the same because I don't do road biking. I haven't gotten too much into that. But a lot of this information should be applicable to all forms of riding a bike. So video number 1, I talked a little bit about how training gait mechanics and resistance training applied with gait mechanics is going to really benefit you for riding a bike, because riding a bike is all gait mechanics. It's frontal planes of motion, it's rotation, transverse planes of motion, and sagittal planes of motion. Gait is all planes of motion. So if you train all those planes of motion, that is going to directly go into 1, how you walk and how you move in general or run, and 2, into your mountain biking performance. Video number 2, it talked a little bit about breath work and how you can utilize the breath as a tool to help you stay more parasympathetic while you're on your bike ride. So for those of you who tire out really quickly while you're riding, if you have issues breathing in through your mouth, which your mouths are not made for breathing, people, please take a look at that video. Today, I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth about posture. So another reason why it took me a little longer to put this video out, like I mentioned previously, is I had to change a little bit of my ideas of how or what I wanted to talk about in this video. And that's because when you're mountain biking, your posture is going to change depending on, you know, what you're doing, really. So are you heading up the trail? Are you in the uphill portion of your ride? Or are you in the downhill portion of your ride? Or maybe you're sprinting, in which case all those postures are going to look a little bit different. Especially if you're using a seat post. So if you're on the uphill descent, or just riding flat and you're taking out the function of your hip by sitting into a post, then you lose a lot of different planes of motion. A lot of it's more just sagittal plane. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And I came to the conclusion, essentially, this is where I was going with this, is there is something that you can apply to all of those things, whether you're sprinting, you're in the climb, or you're in the downhill. And that has to do with rib cage and pelvic positioning. And so I'll expand on that a little bit. So if you can utilize, or if you can recruit your core in a way that you can close down the anterior portion of your body a little bit, you know, tucking your sternum into your abs a little bit or into your core and tilting your pelvis. Now every time you take a breath, that air is going to go into your back. So to expand on that, I want to start by saying that most people, the majority of people have trust issues. And what I mean by that is most people don't trust in falling forward. So a lot of the times people are very much in extension. You see a lot of CrossFitters have this posture, just a lot of people in general, unless you work a desk job, a lot of the times you're very kyphotic, but you're still, it's like you're kyphotic but in extension, because if you're sitting a lot, then you probably have an anterior pelvic tilt as well. But to get back to my point, when you walk, you should be falling. You should be falling into your next step. So you should kind of be leaned forward into like a 45-degree angle a little bit. That way, every time you take a breath, it actually helps push you into the next step by expanding that rib cage and expanding into the back. And in turn, that's going to make us more efficient at moving with gait mechanics, and in turn should make you more efficient riding your bike. Now, I'd like to also say that I haven't had a whole chunk of time to really apply that to my mountain biking. So, but the last few times that I have rode, I've made sure to cue pelvic and rib cage alignment a little bit. And I do notice a difference. I notice that I'm able to, it just feels a little bit more natural, like I'm able to just flow up that mountain just a little bit better. Or if I'm going downhill, I'm able to just stay a little bit more aerodynamic. Or if I'm sprinting, I'm able to have a little bit more efficiency. The other thing that I talked about in the previous video too, of the importance of rib cage breathing and breathing into your back, is being able to utilize your full diaphragm and breathe in all 3D planes of motion. Because not only should you be breathing, into the front part of your body, which most people do. A lot of the times you see people breathe into their belly, or they just breathe into their chest, or vice versa, and or both. You should be breathing into the whole rib cage. So your back should be expanding, the lateral portion of your torso should be expanding, and you should get some pressure filling up on the anterior portion as well. So we accomplish that by closing down the anterior aspect a little bit. That keeps us a little bit more parasympathetic because now we don't have to use our neck muscles to breathe and lift the rib cage, which is highly sympathetic. And if you're highly sympathetic, then you're going to burn out really quick while you're riding your bike. So those are just a few tips to keep in mind, some things that you can start applying on your next ride. And the other thing that I want to talk about is hamstring and adductor recruitment. So if you can properly utilize your adductors and your hamstrings, essentially that should make your pedal mechanics a lot more efficient. Because think of this for a second. Every time that you take a step and that foot hits the floor, well, what's pulling you into that next step? It's your inner thigh and your hamstring. And that actually is pulling you to initiate into the next forward step. And if we're not able to properly utilize those muscles, then it's going to make, walking and running a lot harder, but mountain biking a lot harder as well, and or just really any form of cycling. Now, I can't speak on that for those of you who wear clip-on pedals. That was another factor that I had to consider, was having clip-on shoes and using clip-on pedals. I've never used those, so I can't really say it's the same for that as well. Maybe you actually do have a little bit more hamstring and adductor recruitment when you have clip-ons, but I'm not really sure. I haven't experienced it. But for those of you who don't use those, next time you're on the mountain, next time you're riding, pay attention to if your quads just get really tight or burning out really quick, the front part of your leg. Because I know for me, I have an issue with that sometimes, where like my quads will just feel so exhausted, or they'll cramp sometimes. And I came to that realization that I'm probably not utilizing my hamstrings to their fullest potential. So every time I pedal now, like right at the bottom of that downstroke, I really try to be conscious of my hamstring and my foot really gripping that pedal and pulling that pedal back to initiate the next cycle, you could say. So those are things that you can start thinking of as well. So along with this video and this explanation, I am going to be putting a couple videos along with it that are going to show you how to turn on your hamstrings, how to really get those adductors to start firing again. I'm also going to be adding in an extra video where I'm going to be talking or getting you to activate what's called your serratus anterior, Your serratus anterior is a little set of muscles that run, or it's like a fan of a muscle that runs right here on your rib cage, and that actually helps expand and open up your rib cage as well. So it's a breathing muscle. So I'm going to be tagging that along with this video and one other one. So if you guys have any questions, if I didn't explain something and you didn't get it, just please shoot me a DM, shoot me drop a message or a comment, and like and share this video if this has really helped you out. So until next time, guys, I will be posting one more video as well, and that's all going to be about what you can do post-ride and pre-ride. So there's going to be a total of 4 videos, so expect one more to come out. Cool, guys. Appreciate your time and have a good one. Peace. What's up, guys? So I'm going to show you what's called a hip 90-90, at least that's what we call it here at 0 Point Athletics. So what this is going to help do and achieve is turn on those adductors, or the inner thigh, and start to integrate the hamstring a little bit more while cueing that rib cage and pelvic positioning. So what that looks like is you want to take something that you can squeeze in between your knees or your legs. That way you can start to sense your inner thigh. So for this video, I'm using a med ball. What you're going to do is you're going to come to a floor and you want to find a wall. You want to plant your feet onto the wall. So as you can see, my knee is directly above my hip and my ankle is straight out from my knee. So 2 90-degree angles from here. You're going to put that ball in between your knee or your upper or inner thigh. You're going to start to squeeze it until you sense the inner leg start to light up a little bit. Now what you want to do is spread your toes as wide as you can, press into the wall. That's going to simulate gravity. From there, you're going to pull the wall into the floor, cueing your pelvis to come off the ground, and you should be able to at least fit the palm of your hand underneath. So from there, you want to really drive your toes in, start to sense your hamstring a little bit. And the next thing you want to do is you want to take a deep breath in. And you want to fully exhale. So by fully exhaling, you're now turning on your core. You want to tuck your tailbone as tight as you can. You want to keep your sternum pressed into your abs a little bit. And you just want to keep sensing your hamstrings and your inner thighs. So you want to keep squeezing that ball, digging your toes into the ground, and pulling the wall into the floor. You're going to take a count of 10 breaths, really keeping the front part closed down and breathing into your back. And fully exhaling on every exhale. This next exercise I'm going to show you is going to help you turn on that serratus anterior that I previously mentioned in the video before. So, as I spoke about, that serratus is a breathing muscle. It helps to expand and open up that rib cage. So what we're going to use is you're going to need one lacrosse ball. Now these are really cheap. You can buy them on Amazon in either a pack or you can buy them individually. So we're going to take this thing and we're going to put it right between our shoulder blade and our spine. So that area that we're locating is our mid-trap. So we're going to use this as a form of biofeedback. And by biofeedback, I mean every time we take a breath in, you should be able to sense that ball or your back expanding into that ball every time you breathe in. So I'm going to put that bad boy right where that place was I was showing you guys. You're just going to lean into a wall. You want to find something that's tight, something that's calling out to you. You're going to plant your toes into the floor, firmly grip the ground. From here, you're going to reach both arms forward. You're going to take a deep breath in, fully exhale. Good. So if you didn't notice, my navel pulled in, my hips tucked under, and my rib cage slightly came down. So once you're in this position, you have the anterior portion of the body closed down a little bit. Now every time we breathe in, we want to send our air into that ball. So you should be able to sense your back hitting that ball or spreading across it, and every time you exhale, you want to reach your arm a little bit further. So notice my hand went a little bit further than my left hand. And you don't want to retract back on the inhale, you want to keep it there. Every time you exhale, you want to try to reach a little further. You might want to do that for maybe a set of 3 for 10 repetitions. And that should really help you guys to open up your rib cage a little.